But what we're going to talk about today is really going beyond the stage and harnessing the power of virtual reality summits and virtual summits and some hybrid summits. Ooh, ah, oh my, all these cool things and stuff. And who am I? Well, I'm Nicole Borgie, and I'm really thrilled that you're here today because I'm glad that you're here. And hosting a webinar is not the same without friends, right? It's always better to share with friends. And I want to practice what I preach in sharing with this wonderful community and giving the gift back. Today, I'm really going to dive deep into some transformative strategies to help you build highly profitable summits. Well, even if you're a startup, right? So how do you start this? It's kind of like the theory of summit in a box when you're unboxing. What are the exciting things and stuff that we're going to find out? And we're going to find that today. And you know what? Let's do this without those unusually bad headaches that you get, right? Let's eliminate those pain points. Let's just get comfortable today and starting to talk about those struggles, those ineffective leads, right? You don't want to, we don't really like, when you're starting a business, or maybe you've done a virtual summit or two and everybody loved them in 2020. But I'm going to share with you why I'm so dedicated to help you stand out and shine. And who am I? I'm a virtual host. I'm a speaker. I'm here speaking to you today. I grab the mic. This itself is a virtual summit. And I'm a podcaster and downright content creator. And I like to be here with you. And I love fun, intriguing webinar presentations. I can't help it. It's just fun. I'm a digital creative person. And I'm sharing these tips and tricks with you today in this presentation and sharing those secrets. I don't want you to fall asleep, but I don't want it to be a big snore. And when it's visual, it's eye-catching. And you know what? This is absolutely part of the branding. It's part of who I am and what I share, and absolutely with my business partners, my joint ventures, and my affiliates. And today, I really want to share with you the discovery of slashing those costs, right? You just want to slash. Everybody wants to save a buck or two, right? But how do you do that? Um, we're going to learn that today and reduce, those expenses, because a lot of this is free, right? You can go on to virtual reality platforms. You can go on virtual platforms, and sometimes even summits are free to speak. But the gift is in maybe the bonus, or the gift is in the giving. But you should be able to be open, and you want to open up to the receiving part of it as well. And you know what? When we're talking high converting leads and how that works, and today I'm really going to share with that insider strategy to engage with your audience, right? And when you're engaging with your audience, it helps you advance those monetizing techniques because you're engaging, your audience is gauging, and that's the technique. And that's what gets the profit back because your audience wants to sponsor you, right? So, how to transform your virtual summit into the relationship with your audience and paving the way to the future and the collaboration in here. And it's the engagement, it's the connection. When you're paving the way to collaboration, it's long-term leads. Whether you're podcasting or speaking, you don't want someone to subscribe to your podcast and just forget about it. You want them to come back, kind of like Joe Rogan, right? And you know that feeling. You know what it's like. You get engaged, or you have someone engaged in the conversation, the podcast, but you want them to come back. And that's the power with that, is the special invitation and the invite to come and connect. And so I've got a special invitation for you. And at the end of this presentation, if you'd like some assistance, I'd really love to chat with you and talk about paving the pathway and sharing some definite tips in that special call. That's an invitation from me to you. It's not just a call and an icky sales presentation. It's really a call to engage on how I can help my community, because everybody I talk to, I learn from. And that's super important. So definitely get on that call with me. But right now, let's get back to it. So if you're here today, you're likely to know the benefits of building a profitable virtual summit. You know, we talk about leads, that's in every marketing strategy. Talk about engagements, and it's every marketing strategy. Sometimes it seems like I know the theory, I understand it, but can I put it together? Am I going to be able to solve that problem, or am I just overwhelmed? And that's what it's like for all of us at first, and sometimes our clients too. We want to be that. For me, it's really being that engaging leader, and also learning to lead within and delegate those other tasks that aren't mine, aren't my gift to share, and aren't my gift. And perhaps it gets a little too crazy. So have someone that's there for you that can help you out. And you know what, just like this webinar, invite your partners, your business partners, to come in and help you out, and know that you can't do it all, no matter how much you try, because then you'll struggle. And it's no fun for everybody if everybody's stressed out. So let's go into, the revenue potential. When you can not only host a successful summit, monetize it effectively. How does that sound, right? Doesn't it sound great? So if you're putting a 1 in a chat and you're seeing dollar signs fall from the sky like I am, you want to add a new lucrative income stream to your business, right? You want to see that potential that's there. And when you can see that potential, that feeling starts to generate that abundance within it. You start manifesting that, and now you can host and monetize. So if you're envision having that repeatable system that allows you to consistently generate leads and build revenue for your virtual summit without removing the uncertainty from your marketing efforts, right? So when you have a strategy in place, when you have a system in place, you'll continuously generate leads. Sometimes they fall off. That's okay. You're going to get 3 more every time that one falls off from your marketing campaign, and you'll find new engagement. And you also want to engage with all these other wonderful people that support you, and absolutely coming here into this group at all times. So, you know what? If you're creating a virtual summit, and it can be challenging, right? Just like this guy right here. You know that feeling? Have you had that feeling? Or have you had clients that struggle? Or maybe speakers that come in and they're just struggling. What do I do? How do I get this effective lead and funnel and put it all together? And oh my, right? Lions and tigers and bears, and oh my gosh, the road seems so paved with gold when I was here. But the great Oz is behind the curtain, and he's telling me, hey, I cannot go forward. I cannot generate leads. I'm having difficulties and I'm having struggles. So put a 1 in your chat if you've experienced it. I know I have. And sometimes that's okay. I talked about my struggles today with tech a little bit this morning. It didn't want to work in my favor. But you know what? I took a deep breath and I decided I'm going to power through this. I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. And that's how we move forward, right? Or contact who's the 3 people you know. Who are the people that you know, like, and trust that can help you out? So there's often a little bit of that uncertainty. But with that uncertainty, you want to know that if you have engaging, credible speakers coming to your seminar, coming to your summit, coming to your event, you get to take a deep breath and you say, I've got engaging speakers. And this way they'll engage with my audience. They have a message and a story. It's not a mess. It's something good, strong, and a great funnel and a lead magnet. So now that's all together. What? You can take a deep breath and you can say, hey, I've got an engaged speaker. I've got an audience here, and I am ready for that. So look at this little guy here. I love this picture. He's got this huge map and he wants to travel, right? And think about your summit on a global scale, right? If you're promoting and your goal is to monetize, have profitability, and also funnel and create sales, selling from the stage, and creating great group of people you know, like, and trust that want to affiliate and monetize with you. You have to have a strategic approach. And so in order to reach the global credibility and the global scale and a global audience on a virtual platform, it requires a strategic approach. I know it's hard because you know what? Sometimes we're in our logical mind. And as a healer or coach, you're like, oh, well, I just want to speak from the cuff. I don't want to be that organized. But trust me, friends, if you're not organized, like me this morning, if I wasn't organized, I'd be pulling my hair out. I'd have a big bald spot right here. And that never looks good on Zoom, right? And I don't have a wig, so I'd have to put a baseball cap on. And that's not fun. But I put a strategic strategy together and a plan, and I went with it. And you know what? I trust myself. What about that? And that means that people are going to trust you too. So you know what? Have you tried using platforms like Zoom? We're on this today. We're going live and it can work great, but sometimes the functionality and the scalability seems a little bit overwhelmed with boredom, right? You can be bored too. And that's why I love these fun slides. I gotta say, you know, if you're in a Zoom room and you're not having that much fun, you're looking at these slides and it's like, oh, another slide. This is no fun, right? But I'm going to share with you some secrets. And that's what I say. I love to share these tips and tricks with people. And some here today on, you know what? You can make some fun slides. You can have a bit of fun. You can be whimsical. And I can change my slide, I promise, if it lets me. But for some reason, my slides aren't going to the next page. Isn't that great? But anywho, so I've got another way around it, right? You know what? Too much fun. Have some excitement. Hey, learn from me. Take a deep breath for me. Just you've got to breathe to pull the trigger, and that's it. Otherwise, it's not in your line of sight. And if you have offered a variety of ineffective bonuses, or have you had speakers on your summit that offer bonuses that really just, they don't go anywhere. They don't add up. People aren't interested in it. It's like, oh, did you just copy and paste this from another person? Or are you really sharing something of value, something simple? I share the do's and don'ts of virtual summits. I love that because it has pictures in it. And sometimes we need to see our mind's eye with just a quick caption, kind of like an Instagram or a TikTok, just a little bit of something, a little nugget right here that says, hey, captures my interest. And it has a strong simple call to action, no confusion. And sometimes that's just the best way to do it. Or perhaps you've attempted to recruit speakers, but you've hit some of those crazy roadblocks, right? If you've hit those roadblocks, maybe you have speakers that are hitting roadblocks. You invite these speakers, you recruit them, and then they're like, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know if I can show up. And it seems like, you know, a bit of something is triggering them inside by coming on the stage. Perhaps you need to have a one-to-one conversation with them. Or maybe you've invested in paid ads. You know what? Have you seen that? Are you seeing that in the group? The guy that comes in and says, hey, the newspaper's the next big thing. And I'm like, since what, 1890 or whenever it came out? Put an ad in my paper and I've got an audience. Is your audience a fit with mine? That's something you got to ask. That can be a roadblock. You can be putting money, time wasted, when you can just go ahead and cultivate a great group of speakers and become engaged with your speakers so they become engaged with you. So you want to just overcome those obstacles, right? And I've discovered that there's a way to streamline and overcome these obstacles by successfully hosting a profitable virtual summit. It's pretty easy peasy. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't, because my acronym is keep it simple, right? I love to keep it simple. If it's difficult, I'm not doing it. But that's why I'm here talking about it and beating the drum today, because it's fun. You get to meet more people. You get to travel globally by just turning on your camera. Isn't that amazing? So if you want to transform this by implementing a proven system tailored to your specific needs, right? And the trial and error that often comes sometimes with a bit of that frustration, doesn't it? It comes, you want to build revenue, you want to generate leads, but it can get a little frustrating at times, right? And so you want to end that failure, right? Like the guy here with the rubber band. You tried those rubber band exercises. I know I have, and it snaps, and you're like, oh, whoops. No fun. That rubber bands or that band has gone across the room, and you're like, okay, I'm an epic failure. I'm not doing this again. Perhaps you just need to get up and try it again and find out what the best way is for you to do this. So if someone's doing a system, if someone's building a system for you, if someone's putting a strategy together for you, and you just sit back, take a deep breath and say, hey, I'm going to allow you to do this because I'm a great leader. This is your gift. Someone comes along and builds it for you and does it for you. And you don't have to do all that tedious work. Would you say yes? Success. Hello. Who doesn't want that? So come on now. We're going to go a little bit further in this success journey. And I'm going to share with you how to leverage that system yourself. And so I'm excited to share that. And so before making my discovery, I was kind of struggling to find stages to speak on, right? You know, I had this passion, I have these subjects, I understand people, I have experience speaking from a stage, being an instructor. But what I didn't realize was the way I delivered my message. So I hired someone to help me out. So I hired a coach. A lot of you are here because you know Al Jensen, right? And he is a great coach. So he's really inspired me, or, you know, Chuck Anderson, they've really inspired me to get on the stage and find that connection. And so that's why I'm here bringing this forward. And so when you're in that uphill battle, you know, you want to find a way not to be lost, but the journey should be with you, right? If you're pushing that Husafelt stone, for those of you who are not a bodybuilder, it's a big, heavy stone, right? You know, when the big, strong man picks up that stone and he's carrying it, it's like, oh my gosh, I would just cave right under that, just looking at him, my knees buckle. But when you're faced with this immense frustration, you know, I did it myself, and I use myself as an example because now I can laugh at it. Now I can bring love and light to it. Now I can build that energy a little bit higher, but perhaps somebody out there can take a little bit of a nugget home. And so the lack of opportunity can just get discouraging. That's why I always share with people, you know, hey, you're facing that frustration. And if you face that frustration and you're just so mad, if you look at this clown and you're like, ha, laugh at yourself, laugh at like, hey, man, oops, I won't do that. It's a self-correcting error. I learned this back in my days in the law enforcement academy, and saying, hey, you know what? I can get all angry and mad, or I can laugh about it and say, ooh, you know, joke's on me, a little egg on my face, but it's a little bit of a lesson. So you got to have these skills. You want to practice. You fail sometimes. I fail sometimes. Maybe clients fail sometimes. And as coaches and healers, we know that you've got to practice, right? When you're going for your Reiki mastery and you're becoming a Reiki master, you want to practice. You've got to practice. Your instructor, your teacher is going to tell you, you got to practice. And so if you don't practice, you're going to lose that money. Why? Because it comes out, it washes out. You don't want to get lost in the sauce. You don't want to get lost in space. How do I monetize? Where do I go? You want to bring that back. And you know what? I did too. I poured out my time, my energy, and my resources, and I was fading into this black hole. I was lost in space. You know, just feel like I'm free falling, but I could never just quite even end up on the ground so I could start again. So I catch myself and fall back down. But then I stopped and I said, oops, it's actually not that far. Felt like I was in space, but I was about a little bit less than a foot away from the ground. And you know what? I became grounded, and I really started to brainstorm with even my coaches and my partners, and saying, you know what? It could have been a little bit disheartening. I know it was a lot disheartening. it could have been worse, but drying my tears and working with my business coach and other people and getting out there networking. And I'm realizing, hey, when you're having these struggles, that pain point, what do you do now? You want to overcome those hurdles and you want to brainstorm those ideas, right? And so you want to sell from the stage. How do you do this? So you start saying, hey, it's time for me to look at that. You want to build the audience, you want to generate leads. And the idea of creating lead generation to build your own audience that wants to come and hear your message, that's an absolute revelation, right? Go ahead, put a 1 in a chat. When you're like, wow, hey, note to self, sunshine, wake up, here you are. So you fuel this discovery. And for me, it really helped me develop my course, because my course turned into a webinar, and my webinar turns into stages. And now I have this wonderful audience with me that wants to share this moment, and we can work together and help me build my mini course, and say it's Beyond the Stage Virtual Summits. It's a little mini course that walks you through videos and books and information step by step of the greatness and the treasure of having a virtual summit, even leading into virtual reality summit. And this goal is to share these amazing insights with others. And that's what I'm doing here today. I put the pen to paper and I showed up today and I turned on the camera. And that's really the encouragement here. If anything else, is there is a stage anywhere, but what do you do with that stage that you have? So obviously, not only have I used these strategies and they've become so successful, got a few summits coming up in September, a networking event in August. Those would not come to fruition if I did not take the steps and utilize the strategy. And so it's guiding others as well. And that's what we're doing here today. And seeing that, hey, you can share your superpowers with your tribes and reap the reward. Your audience wants to find you. So if you have a virtual summit, if you hold a virtual summit, if your speakers come, why do they want to speak with you? Because your audience wants to hear you and they want to contribute to your greatness. And they can't do that if you don't share your gifts. So let's dive into a little bit more of that. So what does this do when you're holding virtual events? The next thing is, hey, note to self, welcome to the ultimate roadmap for hosting successful virtual summits. Here it is. Here's your sign. If you're looking for a sign, it's right here, my friend. But it not only generates leads and registration, but it yields profits and other substantial value to your audience. You can always reuse and repurpose your content, have clips, sell packages, sell presentations, sell video, and sell the gifts, and so that's a little bit of a funnel. It's that simple, honestly. Is it, Nicole? Yes, it is, because I can hear you guys. You know what? I'm psychic. I said it in the beginning. Yes, that's what you want to do. It is that simple. So when you're setting that foundation of the process, it ensures the efforts and it resonates with the right people. So speak to your audience, speak to your tribe. Have some groups and invite those groups of like-minded people that want to support you. And that's a little bit of that. But let's get to the scary stuff, right? So the breakdown of this warning, here's some outlines of some simple breakdowns, but target your audience, right? So if you understand your target audience, it's essential. Why? Why do you want to know? My avatar, my audience, speakers, podcasters, boom. I create stages. Who else would I talk to? Every podcaster is a speaker. Every speaker should podcast, because you want to talk, you want to engage, you want a place to invite people to connect. And it allows you to tailor your content and market, simply market and funnel. All the other stuff, everything else, and all the millions of people you want to save will be saved through your message. And you got to get on the stage. So when you're identifying your audience here, the next step is to tailor the content. And I know a lot of this sounds like, hey, Nicole, you're repeating yourself. Yes, I am, because what? It gets into the subliminal mind. I've repeated it. I've even shared some of these great, funny, fantastical slides a few times. You've seen this before. Here's your sign. And I do exactly what I talk about. I preach, I put the proof out there, and that's what this is here today. And so it's knowing your audience and crafting a message that speaks directly to that. So do you have engaging speakers that want to speak to your audience? If you're having a tech summit, do you think those tech people want to come in and talk about manicures and pedicures? Maybe they want to go get one after they talk, but that's not what they're here for. They're driven in the moment. You don't want them to tune out. Adversely, if you're sharing with people beautiful makeovers, maybe some coaching, a little bit of healing and Reiki in a summit, are you going to talk finances? Well, it depends on how that financial person is talking about. Are they talking about business? Are they talking about finances so you can relax and afford your manicure? That may be a little bit different. So you've got to find where that engages. Don't put the square peg in the round hole, because I keep trying to do that and it doesn't work, but I force it in. If you have a hammer, everything's a nail. So don't forget that. So what's involved in identifying your target audience? You want to craft and communicate those results, right? You want to get with people. You want to reach out. It involves understanding the boring stuff, demographics, psychographics, behavioral aspects of your potential attendees. If you're coaches, that's going to ring a bell, right? If you're speaking to coaches, when you're speaking to coaches and speaking to people who are on an energetic level, they talk about behavior. They talk about psychographics. It absolutely has everything to do with strategy. So if you can measure at half and half and take a little bit, maybe the female or the male energy, the logical and the creative, and put them together. My creative is my graph, right? My logical is that it's a graph and it shows that fun, boring matrix stuff, but it shares the development, right? And so when they can merge together, don't eliminate one over the other. You have to have both, and that's what helps. The proof is in the pudding. So you're identifying that. So you're going to create a detailed audience persona. These personas can be fictional, right? They can be fun. It's a dinosaur. My audience is a dinosaur that drinks a large glass of champagne and likes chickens for company. Who knew? That's a niche market, but you know who your market is. So that driven data has to represent your ideal audience, the people who are attending. You also want to invite people that can find something wonderful and take away something good, even if it's just one nugget, more than just a gift bag, because the gift bags always get left behind at the events, right? So you want to give them something that's going to be in that brain housing unit when they leave as well. So they can go, let me think about that. So leveraging the data, back to leveraging the data, your ideal audience, use the analytics, use the tools, gain more insight. It can be boring. That's why you have somebody else do it. Don't take it all on for yourself. Coaches and healers, when you say that, or when people say that to you and you hear that in the group all the time, are they listening as well? Let's see. It's food for thought. And just to contemplate, it's critical thinking. And so back to your audience persona. So bringing in life, host a virtual summit for podcasters through market research. There's an example, right? If you had an ideal audience for your podcast and you knew the age group was 25 to 40 and they struggled with growth and monetization, you want to help that person grow and monetize. It's not necessarily their message may be perfectly fine, but they need to grow and monetize. So that's sharing the same as speakers. So when you're creating your audience persona, you want to bring that ambition here. And so here's someone. So let's say here's a client. I'm going to change a client's name here a little bit, just so they don't know. But so let's say Jill here, and she's ambitious. She's 30, right? and she's been podcasting for a year, but she hasn't managed to grow her listening base. She can't get people to sign for the up for her podcast. She's not getting people to sign up for her events. She's not having growth. And why is that? Is she putting a strong call to action together? She wasn't. That's what happened. She was not putting that strong call to action to get people to subscribe to what she needed them to subscribe to, like her YouTube channel. So that was something that she was faced with. You can't get audience growth if nobody's subscribing. So what do? Call to action, subscribe to my channel, or ask them, hey, would you please, hey, if I bring you in as a guest, subscribe to my channel. Works the same on the stage. Hey guys, come to my great, wonderful summit, but please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, bring in your free gift. What is your offer? Invite your audience, right? So there's a call to action. Many summit people do that. Many summit creators do that. They ask for you to have 5 to 10 registrants for the summit. And there's a key to understanding, what do you really need? What is that one thing you need? It may be just that simple. And so you can also use survey data and in an existing network for podcasters or speakers, right? You want to confirm what's the challenges we have, what's the pain point that you have, the struggle. You know, the guy in the last couple of slides that was pulling his hair out. It's a struggle. But what's that challenge? You really have to say, what is that challenge, so I can take action for that challenge. It's not everything everywhere, everybody everywhere. It's not all the time. It's just this one group. And as you find that, your reach and your network will move out. So take that survey data, and it's going to help you fine tune your summit, identifying your audience. You know, I also worked one time, here's another story, with a client who I helped meticulously identify the planning of a summit. And why is that important? Because again, the strategy coming in, they doubled their expected registrants. We just held a networking event. We had like maybe 1 to 3 people that were going to show up. And I believe, you know, when we launched our Soulfest event, we thought, oh, maybe it's just the 3 of us that are working here and working to put this event together. But then we had amazing speakers on the stage. We had people like Eric Zuley, Michael Whitehouse participate. We had a great group of people coming in to the networking event once we were able to identify that audience. We got engagement. And it's the power of the invite. It's the power of the strategy. We had a strategy, put the event together, we stuck to the strategy, and we still had the ability to kind of add a little bit here and there. You know, the ability to go with the flow and share with what our audience was asking for, and share that ability. And we did that because we had the strategy in place, so it opened us up to do a little bit more, or kind of pivot and turn. So we had planned that. And so you see that profound impact, and it's accurately identifying your audience. So it's, do you have the technology in place? Practice makes progress. Supplement and sustain, and keep communicating. That's the simplicity of it. You stay on that path, it works. If it doesn't work the first time, then do it again. You don't know until you try. So really recapping is, identifying your target audience involves conducting thorough market research and creating detailed audience personas, really. So let's get into that point of planning your summit, right? What happens? So the summit strategy, the big 2, target audience, summit strategy. We're going to get to a third one. And so the second is crucial step for the roadmap to plan your summit, right? This is the phase that involves creating a comprehensive plan. This is where you can go wild. What's my, get into your inner creativity, hit your solar plexus. Where's that creativity coming? Because it does generate love, laughter, and money, right? So that's how that works. And so you want to be in that creative mode. This is the chance to be free and wild with everything, and just totally step out of the logical space, so you can gladly step back into the logical space. Now's the time to play with that and create that comprehensive plan so you can hit that finish line, right? From start to finish. And so no more wasted time and resource. It's a pain point. The strategy eliminates the pain point of wasted time and resources. If you're busy being busy just to be busy, jumping on all these calls with people, never getting engagement, you're talking to a group of people who aren't really hearing you. Maybe you just kind of need to stop the rinse and repeat and put a little bit more planning. So kind of hone in on that strategy a little bit more. Bite someone else to come in, bite someone else to either take over or help you create a path and contribute to your profitable outcome. That's always a good one. So well-devised strategy helps you stay focused. And that's what helps me come back to that today. It's a webinar. There's a lot of things and stuff going on behind the scenes, but instead of the failure and snapping the band, I learned that maybe if I didn't pull it this way and I pulled it this way, I could get the great exercise I expect, and I won't put an eye out myself. So always good, always good. You want to stay with that summit structure and allow the strategy to anticipate potential challenges. And this really reduces the likelihood of the surprises, ensures a smoother execution. Don't you want a better execution? So define your goals, right? We've got to define those goals and what you want to do to achieve those goals. Once you have the end game, what do you want? Here you are at the beginning of the planning and the strategy. And what's the goal at the end? Everything else falls into place. You've got to have that call to action and sometimes work a little bit backwards. Maybe you've got a little too much that you can kind of cut a few of those straggling ends off. And so here we come back to the chart here. It's an outlining the structure of your summit and how many days it'll run. How many sessions will you have each day? Identifying these details up front really helps you organize the content. And if you feel overwhelmed, if you've got a 12-day summit, you've got 1,000 speakers, that's a lot. It can be overwhelming. You need to have a co-host, someone else host it, or you need some type of assistance. When you got the plan in place and you have that assistance and you've got the great powerhouse, do invite your speakers to be in your audience, and you'll find that your audience will grow that way and the speakers can benefit off of that. So really determining your key performance indicator, that's your KPI, key performance indicator. These metrics, they'll help you measure the success of your summit, right? Oh, boring stuff, Nicole, I know. It's math and things that we want to avoid, but you want your registration to go up. You want people to attend. It is a numbers game, right? It is a bit of a numbers game. Once you identify this and understand, you can set it, forget it, put it aside and allow it to help you grow. So imagine if you're planning a virtual summit for speakers who want to grow their influence and their audience and generate numbers and leads. How do you do that? You've got to have good audience influence, and it does depend upon your speakers and making sure that you're leveraging the engagement or engaging the leverage, right? You want speakers that are engaging. You use that as keyword here, again, leverage. And so how do you do that? If you got a great engaging speaker, he's probably got a great audience that he engages with. Have him invite his audience. And that's where you do the swap with the emails, the swipe copy, the content, the emails, and those personal invites, right? That's where, ding, ding, that is a writer down there. That's where you're saying, hey, this is where it starts to come together. This is where the magic happens, right? And so that boring, fun stuff of KPI comes back here again, and you've got a great engaged speaker. You leverage your great speaker with his audience to your audience, and then the numbers of engagement rise. You see how that works? It's just a little bit of math. Simple, simple, simple stuff, right? So that's how you track that. Don't get overwhelmed with numbers, right? You know how sometimes there's that person that comes in the group, or you've got that coach that tells you, or some big influencers, like it's in the numbers, look at all the stats. It can get overwhelming. Look at it, understand how it works, and then allow yourself to walk away with it. If it gets too overwhelming, if you're spending days on it, you're not going to get anywhere. Just have it to understand, right? You've got to have $2 in your pocketbook when you go to the grocery store and you're buying milk. I know it's not $2, but the analogy is the same. And your milk's $1.50. If you have that $2 in your pocketbook, you know you can buy it. So that's where the math comes in. You know it's there, and then you can pull it out in that time of need. And that's how that works. So see how that detailed planning can drive more of the engagement. Easy peasy stuff, guys. Easy peasy stuff, right? And so just to recap, that first step is in planning that summit strategy, identifying your plan, right? Securing the engaging speakers and keeping focus and finding the connecting with impactful speakers will help you deliver value, right? So that is what we're talking about here. Target audience, summit strategy, speakers and content. It's three simple things to get all your stuff out there. That's all it takes. So I encourage you to leverage those engaging speakers. And you know what? If you got more engaging speakers than you've got an audience, just encourage your speakers. The magic of three. Yes, thank you, thank you. It is the magic of three. Absolutely, always the magic of three. 3 subjects in your speech, maybe 3 subjects in your social media, or concentrate on those because people will see that again and again. And that's why we always come back to that. And when you have engaging speakers and attendees, you're more likely to remain attentive and actively listen. And so that's the active participation. It's just, so there's a little bit of a difference. There's engagement somewhere. It's a webinar. There's a little bit of engagement. Where a workshop, there's more engagement because you're workshopping an idea in a group. And that's what we do on the Tuesday group. That's what I work with and say, hey, on this group, it's more of a workshop, to workshop the idea, to workshop the possibilities of business and engagement. It's different audience engagement. Social media, audience engagement. There are different forms of it. So if you get stuck in it's only this, maybe not. So visibility and numbers, again, we talk about the 3, right? So if you keep those 3 high tight subjects, you see the visibility, you see the numbers, you see the signs. There's that visibility. There's the eye right there. The eye has it. Are you seeing the visibility? Are you getting out there? You've got to engage. So if you're worried about people engaging with you, engage with them. It's that easy. You've got to give to get, and there's got to be reciprocation. So when you identify those speakers, reach out to them. Highlight the benefits of participating in the summit, the exposure to a new audience. And so collaborate with your chosen speakers with compelling content, right? Identify your speakers here. With that content. Are you networking? Are you getting out there? So imagine you're organizing a summit for business coaches. Bing, ding. One of your potential speakers is an expert in client acquisition strategies. And so you reach out to them with a detailed plan, or ask them to support and help you and assist you with a detailed plan. And they will love you for it. And they're going to be willing to give you a few of their secrets. Why? Because they want to see and participate and be part of a great summit. They want great participation. And how do they do it? If they give a little bit, you give a little bit. Now you have a partnership. Now it's kind of a joint venture, because if they know that they're going to attract more clients, they're going to help you with that. And that's collaboration, right? So if you want to work closely with a speaker to fine tune their presentation, right? You don't have to tell them how to do their presentation unless they need a little help coaching. But again, you want to give a little bit and you want to work with your clients, or you want to have someone you can refer to them. If people come in and they're like, hey, I'm struggling with my speaking, I refer them to Lord Out, right? Why do I do that? Because I know that gives me back my time. I know that that's not my gift, that's his gift. And I know that I'm sharing now a community and I'm building a stronger community. So, during the summit, you want to be able to to identify and work with your speakers, and are they the speaker expert? And you know what? Are you holding a little bit of Q&A in your engagement? Are you interacting? And yes, I'm only giving a few seconds for interaction in the chat. I want to make sure that people are here, that they're engaged. We'll exchange a little bit later. We'll have a bit of a different format. So, you know, starting with that, you know, what's that proven strategy? Is there ROIs, or are you receiving a return on your investment? Attendees, you want them to take action. You want to share with them, hey, let's get engaged, take action. You know what? Continue with that engagement, call for the engagement there, get the audience engaged. And how do you do that? So, you know, you want them to be, hey, clapping, or hey, I understand, or I get it. Those proven strategies, right? Attract high quality speakers. Again, threes, cost-effective methods to host and market your summit, and create compelling content. That's the third one. Again, a magic of three. That's how it works. So if you're an energy worker, you understand the alignment. But on a business sense, three is simple. Three is not overwhelming. Three is understandable. Three is the ability to take action with. Three eliminates the overwhelm. And three, someone can wrap their head around and go, oh, okay, I get it. Easy, easy, right? And that's where we are. So we talked about the strategy, talked about setting and forgetting. And here's, again, the automation and the technology. And so can you streamline your summit? Yes, you can. I encourage you to streamline it. That doesn't mean get this fancy technical system that you don't know how to run and you decide you're going to learn yourself and you're not technology savvy. That might not be for you. So what good is a program if it sits there? If you don't know how to drive a Ferrari, Ferrari won't sell the car for you. Why? Because you look silly driving the car. You're not driving the car at the performance level that it's meant to be driven. And you make Ferrari look bad because that makes it look like the car's not working in truth. And so that's why they don't sell it to people who don't understand how to buy it or can't afford it. It is an influence, it's audience engagement. They want their clients and people to be engaged. And oh, okay, Leslie, thank you so much. And I'm glad you're here. Let's get together for a call. I will put that in the chat or reach out to you later, Leslie. And so, you know, here's a little engagement, understanding your audience. And so when you're streamlining this, it'll boost your business. Make it easy, set it and forget it, or have it done for you. Have someone co-host. And that's the gift of allowing yourself to bring someone in that understands a person like me. Hello. Self-promotion a little bit right there. Shameless plug. And so let me ask you this. Did you get some insights today? I hope you did. And if you did, put some in the chat and say what kind of insights that you got today out here. Might not be able to get all to them now, but I will later because it helps me. And since that Q&A is a little bit of engagement and it's a little bit of discussion. So you should, hopefully believe that you felt a little bit more clear, a little bit more comfortable, that you can achieve your summit goals, right? Because it's easy, right? And do you feel you got good value of your time today? You did because you stayed here. Thank you so much for doing that. Yes, that's Miss Garcia. I love it. Thank you so much. And, you know, a great person who shares and collaborates, and a great leader that Miss Garcia is, and says, hey, let me delegate to the people that have strong points, because she has great strong points and she's a great connector. And so here's, you know, a little bit of what I shared with you today and giving you value. It's a simple concept, but nuance in execution. So it hones in and it funnels right into that nuance that clicks into kind of hopefully at a soul cellular level for you to kind of reframe and change that structure. And so, you know, hopefully you can go away today with that action of implementing what my summit is going to be like. So go ahead and apply these strategies, make a difference. Absolutely. I invite you again. I said I've got a special invitation for you today, and I want you to go ahead and I invite you to schedule a connection call with me and develop your profitable virtual summit pathway. I'm going to put that link in the chat. It's very important. Whether you want to work with me or not, I am absolutely open. The gift is in the giving, and I'm absolutely open to sharing my time with you. And your time is valuable. So I really would love to strategize with you how you can create a profitable virtual summit pathway, co-host or have it hosted for you. And that's what I offer, done for you, done with you. I'm here by your side. But it's really, really, really strong call that my strong call, my ask today is for you to take action. Whether you're jumping on the call with me or not, absolutely take action today. And you know what? Start your summit. If I can get back to my screen and hi. So hey guys, great involvement in the chat. I'm going through that and I'm trying to get my screen back here. Zoom has taken my visual away, and I'm gonna stop the it's not gonna be my options. There we go. Thank you so much. Hey, technology, love it or hate it. Here it is. It's with us. So you got to have a little bit of fun with it. All right. So sometimes it's getting into that other headspace. So thank you so much for being here. I'm looking at that chat. Thank you so much, Beverly. Miss Garcia, you're so engaging. Leslie, you're awesome. I'm glad you're here. I'm dropping the link in the chat. Let's get on a call and talk about that, you guys. I really invite you strongly to come and take this opportunity. I've only scheduled a few days and a few blocks of time out for this. I really want to take the momentum of what happened in this webinar now and work with you on this on a one-to-one call, because we can kind of sit there and do a little bit of automatic writing, spell it out, and manifest that abundance of the profitability and the ease of virtual summits. So thank you so much